So hello everyone. Today I'm going to be in conversation with Marco Cappellini and Suzi Cavalari, and it's going to focus, of course, on virtual exchange, but also on their research that's come out of their virtual exchanges. Before we get stuck in though, would you like to introduce yourselves? Suzi, you come in first.
Hi everyone, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me, Lorenza. My name is Suzi Cavalari. I am a teacher at São Paulo State University in Brazil. I teach English as a foreign language for language teachers and translators to be.
Thank you, Suzi. Marco.
So, hi everyone, thank you for having us. I'm Marco Cappellini. I'm a full professor in linguistics education at the University of Lyon 1 in France, even if I'm Italian, as you can imagine by my name. And for the past 10, 15 years, I've been researching and teaching about virtual exchange and especially telecollaboration, a particular type, which is teletandem, that we will discuss later.
Yes, thank you both and welcome. Now, we're going to end up talking about some research on your virtual exchanges, but your situation's slightly different. Suzi was explaining to me that your research came from your independent projects in your respective universities, so your virtual exchanges, and you met and discovered that your research was similar and you've pulled together your research. Suzi, can you expand a bit on how that came about?
Sure. Just like Marco, I have been involved with research on virtual exchange in my university for quite a while now. And we have been implementing a very specific model of virtual exchange, which is the teletandem model or e-tandem model. It's a bilingual, it's based on bilingual exchange between pair of students who speak different languages and try to help each other learn a target language. So since we have been implementing this model of telecollaboration in our campus and collecting data on this type of model for a long time, we have an extensive and significant corpus of learner data. And Marco has been working with this model of telecollaboration in his settings as well, in his educational settings as well. So every time we met at conferences, Unicollaboration Conference, IVAC, we ended up talking about what we have been doing. And we are not only involved with teletandem, but we are both interested in issues related to autonomy, autonomization, and promoting students' reflection.
Thank you for that, Suzi. Now, Marco, I'm going to bring you in now. You've got a Franco-Brazilian research project with Suzi, and it's called Reasoning, and it's focusing on foreign language education through virtual exchange. Marco, can I get you to summarize a little bit more and expand on what Suzi was saying?
Sure. So yes, we usually ended up talking at conferences and at some point I think it was in Valencia for the IVE conference. We said, how come we haven't worked together yet? And after that, we saw call for projects coming, and it was this Franco-Brazilian one, and we decided to focus on learner autonomy. So just a few words to maybe try to define this very vast object. Learner autonomy is when you push and help learners develop a reflection about how they learn. So in our case in teletandem, but you can apply that for each pedagogical setting you can imagine, so that they not only become more aware of how they learn and what's good for them, but also that they become more and more capable to take charge of the different operations that are linked to learning, such as setting up objectives, choosing materials, self-assessment, and so on. And we've been doing separated studies since recently, and we were looking at how learners verbalize, how they put into words those reflections about how they learn. And we decided that it could be interesting to put those those strands of research together and try to come up with some new pedagogical but also research framework to inquiry that kind of dimension. That's how it started 3 years ago. Now we are in the second year of this project called Reasoning, and we've been doing some things, among which literature review on learner autonomy and how learner autonomy is looked at in higher education, how also metacognition is researched, and it was very enlightening what we discovered in the literature, and some studies about the emotional dimension as well of learner autonomy in Teletandem. So this is how where we are now. We've also put up with the team. We are saying we because there are two of us, but it's a whole team behind us, with us in France and Brazil. And there were also some virtual exchanges starting out of this project between Aix-Marseille University and UNESCO.
Okay, so I heard the word enlightening. So Suzi, do you want to expand a bit on what Marco was saying? What actually have you discovered? What's been coming out of your research that's been so enlightening?
Well, in fact, the literature on learner autonomy is vast, and we kind of grasped from our readings that autonomy was a multidimensional concept, and it is, in fact. But we wondered, like, what dimensions exactly had been already explored, or if there were any dimensions that had been underexplored. And this is precisely what I think might be the most relevant aspect of our research so far, because of course autonomy involves metacognition, social and cultural and contextual aspects of the learning, and technical aspects or political aspects and emotional aspects. But these two last dimensions, the political one and the emotional one, they are both, they seem to be less researched. Like there are fewer papers, we found fewer papers on them. And so they are probably a very relevant trend of research that we should pursue.
Tell me more about the emotion. I'm very interested in that, Marco, or either of you, whoever wants to.
We had a couple of studies on the emotional side, and these were conducted with a colleague who is now in UNESCO, Priscilla Ferro, who spent a period in Aix-Marseille University. It was mainly her idea to start from a very well established framework in studying emotions in second language acquisition in general, not necessarily linked to virtual exchange nor Teletandem. And the idea was to try to have an adaptation of that framework to the specificities of Teletandem, and we ran kind of a pilot study on some diaries. So these are individual writing not essays, but the students are writing a reflection after each Teletandem session.
Right.
And this pilot study proved that it was possible to automatize part of that analysis. And this is very interesting because in UNESCO, well, Suzi is very modest, but one thing that she hasn't mentioned, and I'd like to say anyway, is that the Teletandem Brazil project was really pioneer for the Teletandem activities. And as you can associate for face-to-face tandem to Bochum and Oviedo, for e-tandem to Sheffield Trinity College and Bochum again, well, Teletandem, it's UNESP. Teletandem is
wow.
was really started. It was really started as a big research and pedagogical project in there. So one of the things they've done in the past 20 years is to collect a big data set of of data related to Teletandem. There are of course the online interactions, the face-to-face video conferences interactions, but also lots of diaries of learners. And this data set is huge. More than 600 pieces.
What are you going to do with it all?
And that's why it was important for us to find a way to automatize part of those methodological tools. And so now the next step on that side of the project will be to use the tool developed by Priscilla and by us on the whole data set and see what comes up from that.
Okay. Suzi, do you want to add anything to what Marco said?
Yeah, it's just well, as Marco has already mentioned, it's the Priscilla's study is intended to be a mixed approach study, and so after this pilot first phase, the idea is to run the rest of the diaries. She's dealing only with the diaries in English so far. In this MaxKDA, it's a software that helps, this quantitative or to analyze qualitatively this quantity of data.
Yes.
But what I think is interesting in her work is that she has found some categories of linguistic items that might reveal students' emotions in learners' diaries.
Yes.
So I think this is a new or an advancement in her research that hopefully she will be able to publish soon.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about this that I haven't asked you before I let you go?
Yeah, maybe I think for me, of course, this the drive is really to investigate all this data we have and promote, the advancement in the area. But I really look forward to the second phase of the project as well, in which we intend to adjust the instruments we already use to foster learners' reflections, like the diaries or the individual questionnaires or even the orientation sessions with the teacher. So we are adjusting the guidance we give to students, for example, or the kinds of questions we ask in the initial and final questionnaires based on these results that we have now, so that we can run a second data collection. So I look forward to this new phase of the project because I think that we might have something new coming up, and also like to improve and bring some innovation to our pedagogical context as well, which I think is as important as the research.
Well, yeah, the one thing that I might add to that is that, for instance, one of the things that we saw in the literature review is that when you find the term metacognition, if it is present, because it's not always in the papers, it is very rarely soundly defined. Usually it's like a synonym for reflection, or you also will find ways to use this as a synonym for learner autonomy. So the idea is to start also from some definition of metacognition. And one of the things that we are exploring now, and very soon actually, we have one of my PhD students actually traveling right now to Brazil to bring some of that
As we
to
speak,
UNESP.
by the way.
So it's the fact that there are some theories in cognitive psychology quite recent. Well, it's 2017, so it's not that recent, but they are very underknown, I think. So for instance, about what's reasoning, hence the name of the project, and how this can be used to scaffold, to really help students foster their own reflection.
Oh, thank you so much for your time today. That's been most interesting, and good luck with it all.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Lorenzo, very much.